Now on Coast TV News.
Patchy frost this morning for some inland spots. Otherwise, a sunny and cool day on the way for Delmarva. Otherwise, a nice warm-up heading into the Easter holiday weekend. Forecast details coming up.
Firehouse hate crime. We're getting reaction from Delaware lawmakers following the arrest of 2 firefighters in Millville.
Fix for beach bottleneck, that is what Delaware says is a part of a big project in Milton, the balance they are attempting to find between car and bicycle traffic.
Turbine plans trouble. Why Fenwick Island is hoping a court case in New York will help it block a wind farm project off of our coast.
This is Coast TV News Today.
And we are working on our 6 o'clock hour. Good morning, I'm Matt Pensick.
And good morning, I'm Elisa Weber. It is Thursday, April 17th, 2025.
And if you're a student or the parent of a student getting ready for school this morning, maybe some spring fever, with today being the final day of classes heading into break.
Don't forget about teachers. They like their breaks too.
Yeah, I know you know some
I'm
teachers.
the daughter of a teacher.
Yes.
She enjoys her break. She's enjoying her spring break now. And Bob, I think everyone wants to know about their weather for their spring break. It's looking pretty beautiful according to your forecast.
Looking great
Yeah.
heading into the Easter holiday weekend. I think we're all glad that Easter came a little later this year. But first things first, we're talking about the potential for frost. If we have enough dew out there, we're definitely looking at frost from Ocean Pines at 35 to Georgetown, Seaford 35, 32 in Redden. I checked Millsboro, 35 there, 33 in Salisbury, 32 in Redden. So those temperatures really dipping before sunrise. So hope you protected your plants by covering them or bringing them in. Looking at lower 40s inland, calm winds inland areas, a little bit of a breeze at the coast. Now, officially, we do not have a frost advisory for our neck of the woods, but there is one farther to the north and west from Baltimore to areas around Newcastle County and into southern Jersey as well. So we have the ingredients in place. It's clear, it's calm, and it's cold with high pressure beginning to settle over the top of us. So we're looking at a beautiful morning. Just you may need that ice scraper interior areas. And as that high settles over us today, looking at a lot of sunshine and the winds much lighter. But a little bit of frost this morning by 7 a.m. Still some upper 30s and then 40s at the coast. By 9, we're warming into the upper 40s, then into the 50s by noon. Mid-50s around Millsboro and Delmar. And then as we go deeper into the afternoon, close to 60 around 2 p.m. around Delmar and Millsboro. I think inland spots around 60 to 61 later this afternoon and evening, but cooler for the coast and cooling down as we go into this evening. And for the ferry ride up to Cape May, looking at light winds, lots of sunshine, temperatures in the 40s to right around 50 by 11 a.m.
Thank you, Bob. Getting a live look now at the bright lights that are starting to fade a bit because sunrise is coming up soon there along the canal in Lewis. It's a cold start to our Thursday. It's part of a big swing in temperatures that is common for this time of year. And our top story this half hour is the frost and the potential damage it can cause for our farmers. Like many on Delmarva, Bennett Orchards was dealing with frost conditions about a week ago. To protect their peaches, the farm has these new wind machines. They start running when the temperature dips to 34 degrees. It keeps the warm air from rising, and even a little change in temperature could have a big effect.
At 27 degrees, you may see 10% crop loss. At 24 degrees, you might see 90% crop loss. Thus, every degree is critical.
And Bennett installed the wind machines last year, but it wasn't until last Tuesday that temperatures became cold enough, triggering them to operate.
Happening today, or at least scheduled to happen today, the Delaware Representative District 20 Democratic Committee is scheduled to hold its monthly meeting. This occurs while the state representative from this district, Stell Parker Selby, continues to be a no-show at Legislative Hall in Dover. Here's what their website looks like. We see that meeting announcement with a picture of Parker Selby. She has not attended one of this year's General Assemblies after stating in a letter that she had a, quote, medical event. No votes on bills on today's agenda in Legislative Hall.
Happening now, we continue to get reaction to an alleged hate crime at the Millville fire station. House and Senate leadership in Delaware are issuing statements about the arrest of 2 Millville firefighters. Here is what we have from House Democrats, quote, "No one, and especially not someone who puts their safety on the line to protect others, should ever be subjected to this kind of hateful or threatening behavior," end quote. And we're continuing our coverage of the situation. So here's what we've learned so far in Millville. 2 now former firefighters are arrested and accused of a hate crime.
Police say it happened at that fire station on Atlantic Avenue.
And according to investigators, Jay Droney, Jordan Hastings, who were volunteers, chased a paid employee around with a rope tied like a noose. And according to the fire company, after that, more verbal harassment occurred and racist remarks were used.
And this happened in February of last year, but the fire department says they didn't know about the incident until last week. The fire company say they immediately started an investigation and told authorities. Both Droney and Hastings are facing hate crime and conspiracy charges, which are felonies. They are also facing harassment charges. And the plans for Route 16 in Milton and the public response happening today. DelDOT will hold another public workshop for its plans on that roadway. The agency says improvements will make it safer and easier road to travel on. DelDOT is currently working on studies they say aim to improve the flow of traffic and prevent any buildup. They also want to make that area more accessible for bikers and walkers. This is especially important ahead of the busy summer season as that major roadway leads to Delaware beaches. Jim LaBella lives in Milton and says the in-person feedback helps a lot.
Listen to someone talking, telling you what's going on so you have a better understanding as opposed to just what's on the board or what you see online. So I think the personal interaction helps a lot and does.
Locals can attend this morning's public hearing in person and virtually. That meeting takes place at 10:30 at the Milton Public Library.
We're getting this in this morning. Fenwick Island is looking at a New York court case to block the wind farm project off of our coast. The town is posting a recent decision against the Bureau of Ocean Energy Management, stating the Trump administration is ordering the agency pause a project set to happen in that state after, quote, serious deficiencies in the Bureau's permitting process. The order also states that all of the agency's other projects, which includes plans on Delmarva, are under review for the same reason.
Happening this afternoon, we will get a better idea about the upgrades to Delaware's 911 service. A demonstration of it is taking place this afternoon in Dover with Governor Matt Meyer in attendance. Callers will be able to stream live videos and share photos. This allows first responders to get important information before arriving on the scene. The enhanced system will also allow for text translation and language support. Officials plan to upgrade all Delaware public safety answering points by next year.
This afternoon in Rehoboth Beach, we're expecting more details of the new Beach Patrol headquarters construction. This is a project that is running $750,000 over budget. During a presentation at the Mayor and City Council meeting from construction company Edis, one pending item under review is Delmarva Power's request for a temporary backfill prior to relocating the transformer. Also in that presentation are plans for bringing in HVAC equipment and final inspections and final steps on the outside, such as siding, landscaping, and sidewalks. According to city officials, we are less than a month away from seeing the patrol move in.
We are now getting a live look at the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. It was on Wednesday that Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen traveled to El Salvador in hopes of meeting with alleged MS-13 gang member Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who was living in the state prior to deportation. He was denied that request as controversy over this case continues.
NBC's Alice Barr shows us the White House is providing more details about the allegations, while Garcia's family is making more denials.
The clash between the Trump administration and the federal courts reaching a new level, with one federal judge saying he'll start criminal contempt proceedings against the administration for willfully disregarding his order to halt last month's deportation flights to an El Salvador mega prison unless the migrants are given hearings to challenge the allegations against them. Judge James Boasberg writing the Constitution does not tolerate willful disobedience of judicial orders. The White House appealing overnight while providing new information about one of the deported men, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who Justice Department officials admitted was sent to El Salvador through an administrative error. The Supreme Court ruled the administration must facilitate his return, though the administration argues El Salvador would need to initiate his release.
All that would happen is one more step in paperwork and he would go right back to El Salvador because he is an MS-13 member.
The Justice Department released a 2019 document showing Maryland police linked Abrego Garcia to the violent MS-13 gang through what they called a reliable informant. His attorneys have called that testimony questionable, denying any gang affiliation. Abrego Garcia has never been criminally charged. He's been living with his family in Maryland. And one of the state's Democratic senators traveled to El Salvador yesterday and said he asked the country's vice president why he has not been released.
And his answer was that the Trump administration is paying El Salvador, the government of El Salvador, to keep him at CCOP.
Senator Van Hollen among those calling for a day in court. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
We're just getting started in this hour of Coast TV News today.
Yeah, coming up, Dogfish sends support what the brewery is doing to help a Sussex County land preservation cause.
Also, push for more books. We'll show you how Delaware lawmakers aim to ensure books stay on shelves with new proposed policies.
And up next, from challenges to crowns, we will show you the journey for one Delawarean who will represent the state in a national competition. All that and more as Coast TV News Today continues.
Anytime you get the opportunity to represent the state you live in, it's an honor. And that's what the subject of this week's Coastal Connection is doing. Amy Simonson is a pageant queen, but her journey to the crown, it's a little bit different than most. The pageant world is both serious and competitive.
Congratulations!
But for Miss Wheelchair Delaware, Amy Simonson, her journey to the crown started with a laugh.
And I jokingly said to my mom, how cool would it be if I was Miss Wheelchair Delaware?
That one offhand comment led to a whole lot of work and eventually a title.
I filled out the 30-page application.
30 pages?
It was a lot, and it was a little overwhelming, but filled out the application, got it sent in, and now I have a crown.
But her journey's not over. Simonson has her eyes on the Miss Wheelchair USA pageant coming up in July, and she's got a message that really resonates.
My platform is Change the Face of Beauty. I'm a photographer who offers free photo shoots to families and individuals who have disabilities. And my whole purpose on it is to try and change how society views us, that we are more than our disabilities.
Simonson wasn't always bound by her chair. She has spinal bifida and tether cord syndrome that caused partial paralysis and ultimately led to a partial amputation when she was in high school. That's a tough pill for anybody to swallow, but Simonson manages with an incredibly positive outlook.
In my family, we believe, and I was raised, that you can either be miserable in your circumstances or you can make the best out of your situation.
Before a wheelchair became a key component of her life, Simonson was the kind of person that got involved, and that hasn't changed. She's an active church member and even teaches Sunday school.
Just having that impact on the kids and everything, and seeing that, having that childlike faith really kind of brought me through everything, and having a purpose bigger than myself. Because if I allowed myself to only worry about me, I'd have been miserable.
While Simonson has faith in her heart, she's also got competitive spirit in her soul. She's already connected with other women that will be at the national competition, but make no mistake, she wants to win it.
We jokingly said we'll be best friends up until the pageant, until competition time.
And in her mind, the best way to do that is to raise awareness of mobility aids that differently abled people require.
Well, if there's not a way for us to get up into a building, we can't go to that business. We want to live normal lives. And just raising that awareness and that education is really like how I plan on getting far into the competition.
No matter the outcome of the competition itself, Simonson feels like her platform is a picture-perfect way to fight for equity in a community she already belongs to.
Time is 6:18, and you are looking live at a cold morning there in Salisbury. And Bob, you are tracking temperature drops over the past hour.
Yeah, those temperatures are dipping in a big way, Matt. You know, the winds have died down inland spots. A big question is, do we have enough moisture in the air to produce dew or frost? And if we do, boy, we are probably frosty. I just checked my home station in Millsboro, 34, and that gentleman in Frankfort has the fan. You said the threshold for that fan to kick on is 34 on his farm, so his fan might be kicking on. 35 in Ocean Pines, just above freezing in Salisbury and Delmar, at freezing in Redden. So it's getting really cold just before sunrise. Along the coast, we're seeing temperatures in the low 40s right now. So mainly calm winds inland, just a little bit of a breeze at the coast. So I was concerned about those winds dying off, and with that, temperatures dipping. Now, officially, we do not have a frost advisory across Sussex County or Salisbury or Ocean City. It's to the north and west. Baltimore, back north of Dover into Jersey, they have a frost advisory there that extends farther to the north. But interior parts of Delmarva, once again, are seeing a frost this morning if we have enough moisture. We are seeing the clear skies right now, dry roads, good visibility, great travel weather out there as high pressure has settled over the top of us, and that means lighter winds today. We had those very strong winds yesterday, but they'll be lighter today with high pressure over us. And then as that high slides offshore into Good Friday, we'll see a big warm up. The warmth is developing across the plains, even some storms firing up across Missouri and the Midwest. We're not going to see the storms, but we will definitely see the warmth. And this morning we are going to be scraping a little frost inland areas, otherwise warming into the 40s, so no more frost by mid-morning with mid to upper 40s and then upper 50s by 1 p.m. Cooler for the coast, and then by 5, it's going to be pretty nice. Temperatures in the low 60s, around 61 in Delmar to Millsboro and Selbyville, but cooler at the beach. Don't know if it's going to be 49 at Dewey Beach, but definitely 50s there. And then another chilly night tonight, not as cold as this morning as high pressure slides away, maybe 39 in Long Neck. Otherwise, we're looking at lower 40s. Then the warm up is on as we go into Good Friday. Southerly wind kicks in by the afternoon, 60s and lower 70s away from the coast, and even milder into Friday evening. Temperatures in the 60s. Those winds out of the south will keep temperatures up as we head into Saturday morning with lows in the low 60s. And look at this, by the afternoon, all of a sudden it feels like summer. Gusty southwest winds and temperatures in the low to maybe mid 80s away from the coast on Saturday afternoon. We'll see some clouds, and then eventually a cold front from the west will start to drop in from the north. So it's very warm Saturday, maybe a little cooler on Easter Sunday, but dry behind that front as the winds are much, much lighter today. Then they start to kick in out of the south and southwest as we go into Friday and the weekend. Paul Davis, 7-day forecast, 62 today and then 71 on Good Friday after a chilly start. And then Saturday, 82, maybe a sprinkle or two with that cold front Saturday night. Otherwise, Easter Sunday looking good if you're out and about. Excuse me, oh boy, 73 on Easter Sunday, getting choked up about that, and then looking at 60s and 70s next Monday through Wednesday with dry conditions.
A lot to get excited about. All right, thank you, Bob. The ongoing controversy over books and accusations of bans now has the attention of Delaware lawmakers. House Bill 119, it's called the Freedom to Read Act, would require public schools and libraries to adopt clear policies for developing their collections while preventing materials from being removed solely because an author's background, beliefs, or viewpoints. Supporters of this say the bill helps protect access and fairness.
We have a big lift to raise the literacy rates in Delaware, and of course, libraries serve, we support literacy across the lifespan.
And earlier this year, the U.S. Department of Education pushed back on allegations that removing age-inappropriate, sexually explicit, or obscene materials from school libraries creates a hostile environment for students.
Up next on Coast TV News today, Dogfish sends support. We'll show you what the brewery used as inspiration for the new design of its new brew. Don't go anywhere.
Dogfish Head has a new brew with a purpose. Check this out. It is called Wild Bonk. It's a German-style brew, and it's part of a partnership to help save the 4th Street Preserve in downtown Lewis. That is the last open space there. The beer celebrates the area's wildlife and also includes the red fox.
Easter is right around the corner, and you can start your Easter Sunday with music and meaningful conversation if you celebrate with Sunrise Sermons 2025, The Final Sacrifice. Services begin at 7 a.m. on Coast Country, 9:30 on the Delmarva Sports Network, and 10:30 right here on Coast TV. And Matt, we talked about if you were outside yesterday, that wind was a little brutal, the sun was beautiful. But the weekend looks like some good outdoor weather.
I am so excited about this. You know, Bob, I might have to get my beach attire for the coast this weekend with some of the temperatures you're bragging about. But I know today's not going to be quite as warm as what you're projecting for a few days from now.
No. We're expecting low 80s as we go into Saturday, guys. But about 20 degrees cooler than that today, but still pretty nice. Here's Assateague and Chincoteague this morning. Lots of sunshine, 40s for you. I think we top out in the upper 50s later today. Lots of sunshine, and the wind's noticeably lighter, too. UV index is moderate, so make sure you have your sunscreen. Fenwick Island and Ocean City, after a cold start, we're warming into the mid to upper 50s. Next 3 days in Cambridge, changes on the way. 62 today, 71 on Good Friday, and then by Saturday, 82. A little cooler for Crisfield the next 3 days, but definitely warming up as we go into the weekend. A little cooler for Easter Sunday, but right now, the Easter holiday forecast looking pretty good. I'll have much more on the holiday forecast coming up in the next half hour.
And after the break on Coast TV News today, a Bellmead back to the drawing board will tell you why Sussex County officials are not sold on plans for more housing in Lewis.
Also, Millville hate crime accusation. What some Delaware lawmakers are saying after the arrest of 2 firefighters.
And innovation to cover crops. We'll show you how one local farmer is protecting those crops from the impact of cold weather. Coast TV News today. We'll be right back.
Now on Coast TV News.
Patchy frost this morning for some inland spots. Otherwise, a sunny and cool day on the way for Delmarva. Otherwise, a nice warm-up heading into the Easter holiday weekend. Forecast details coming up.
Fighting frost, the unique method one farmer is using to protect crops during freezing temperatures.
Hate crime condemnation after we reported on the arrest of 2 Millville firefighters, the reaction from Delaware lawmakers on the alleged racist incident.
Land use limbo, the latest step in a Lewis battle between affordable housing and preserving land zoned as agricultural.
This is Coast TV News Today.
April 17th, 2025. Good morning, everybody. I'm Matt Pensick.
Good morning, Matt. Good morning. I'm Elisa Weber. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, time is 6:30. Elisa, you're off tomorrow, so here's our final chance on WrestleMania weekend, by the way. Have to ask, who do you have?
You know, I love talking about WrestleMania.
That's why I'm asking.
Oh, I don't think I can choose.
So many to choose from.
So many to choose from.
All right.
Yes.
Well, you have maybe
put me on the spot there, Matt.
I know.
Wow.
Well, that's what I do. It's sometimes.
I'm
Bob,
think about it all weekend long.
I know Bob's a big Roman Reigns fan, so maybe he'll be pulling for him this weekend.
He might be.
I'm just familiar with Roman Reigns. Not that I'm a huge fan, but I know he's a good guy. Sometimes a good guy, sometimes a bad guy. All right, let's talk about the frost. I tell you what, temperatures have dipped. Now the sun's coming up, but temperatures have tanked this morning. We're now 32 to 35 degrees inland areas. If there's enough moisture, you're probably seeing frost just above freezing in Salisbury and Delmar. Now 34 in Seaford, 32 in Redden. So hope you protected your plants, and I'm sure some of those fans kicking on. We have that story about the gentleman in Frankfurt and his fans probably kicking on there with temperatures around 34. Lower 40s at the beaches right now, and the wind's calm. A little bit of a breeze at the coast. We have a frost advisory from Baltimore into the northern part of Delaware and southern Jersey. We do not have a frost advisory for us, but I think we are looking at some frost interior parts of Delmarva. It's clear, calm, and cold right now as high pressure has settled over us and the winds have died down. And that'll be the bonus for today, is that we're looking at lighter winds. But this morning, probably have to scrape some frost off the windshield. We're looking at temperatures warming through the 30s early on, upper 40s by mid-morning, and then 50s by the lunch hour. And I think later in the afternoon, we're in the lower 60s away from the coast, a little cooler at the beaches. And notice the absence of arrows, not looking at a lot of strong wind today, so that's certainly good. But I gave it the yellow light on the morning commute for scraping some frost. Leave extra time to warm up the car, and then the green light for the afternoon commute, looking at sunny and cool conditions with lighter winds.
Thank you, Bob. In our top story this half hour, it's another morning of tracking the potential of April frost. We looked at data from the National Gardening Association, and here is what we found. The historical average of having frost for this date shows a 20% chance in Dewey Beach. It also shows 20% in Georgetown and 20% in Frankfort.
Yeah, speaking of Frankfort, Bob mentioned this a few minutes ago. It's the home of Bennett Orchards. That's where peaches and blueberries are produced for the summer. Frost is a concern there. Frost is a concern for all farmers on Delmarva. The Bennetts have this wind machine. It was installed to start running when the temperature dips to 34 degrees. The wind it generates keeps the warmer air from rising, and last week's frost was the first time the machines were used, and they could be triggered again this morning depending on if that temperature reaches 34 degrees.
Developing news in Delaware, we now have lawmaker response to an alleged hate crime at the Millville fire station. House and Senate leadership in Delaware are making statements about the arrest following those accusations. House Democrats are saying in part, quote, "No one, and especially not someone who puts their safety on the line to protect others, should ever be subjected to this kind of hateful and threatening behavior."
Yeah, we're continuing coverage of the situation. This is what we've learned so far. 2 former Millville firefighters have been arrested. They are accused of a hate crime.
And police say it happened at the fire station on Atlantic Avenue.
According to investigators, Jay Droney and Jordan Hastings, who were volunteers, they chased a paid employee around with a rope tied like a noose. And according to the fire company, after that, there was continued verbal harassment and racist marks were used.
This happened in February of last year, but the fire department says they didn't know until last week. The fire company says they immediately started an investigation and told authorities. Both are being charged with hate crime and conspiracy, which are felonies, as well as harassment. And from overnight, Belmead Farm in Lewis won't be rezoned for now. That's according to a decision from the Sussex County Planning and Zoning Committee. Officials are voting down a request from developers to change the farm from an agricultural residential district to a planned commercial district.
And Coast TV News reporter Brendan Conroy shows the concerns that led to the denial of this project.
Laura McNutt lives near Belmead Farm with her husband and 3 kids. She tells Coast TV with the farm being so close to a school, commercial development would have a big impact on their everyday routine.
There's already a lot of traffic, but even besides the traffic being that close, there would be added noise pollution with the additional traffic and with the commercial buildings. So there's just better options for that space being so close to the school.
Regina Ayers also lives nearby and agrees.
I have a friend that's a teacher that works right there at Love Creek, and it's 30 minutes for her to come out of that school to come around the corner here just because of the traffic.
Not everyone is against the project, though. Dr. Tam with BB Healthcare says this would have provided more affordable housing for medical staff.
No commercial space coming to Belmead Farm, at least not for right now. For Coast TV News, I'm Brendan Conroy.
Happening today, or at least scheduled to happen today, the Delaware Representative District 20 Democratic Committee is scheduled to hold its monthly meeting. This occurs while State Representative for this district, Stella Parker Selby, continues to be a no-show at Legislative Hall in Dover. Here's what their website looks like. We see the meeting announcement with a picture of Parker Selby. She's not attended one day of this year's General Assembly after stating in a letter that she had a, quote, medical event. No votes on bills are on today's agenda in Legislative Hall.
This morning, we should get a better idea about DelDOT's plans for Route 16 in Milton. DelDOT is holding another public workshop about this key highway that connects to Route 1. They say the project will improve traffic flow, especially during the summer season. In addition to all those cars coming from across the Chesapeake Bay, DelDOT says it wants to make this area more accessible for bikers and walkers. People can attend this morning's public hearing in person or virtually. Takes place at 10:30 at the Milton Public Library.
An update in Rehoboth Beach. Crews are in the final stretch of construction on the new Beach Patrol headquarters. The city says the contractor is working to complete the project over the next 35 days. Officials say some of the next steps include bringing in HVAC equipment and final inspections. The last steps on the outside include siding, landscaping, and sidewalks. The city says that project is running about $750,000 over budget to meet the mid-May deadline.
New this morning in Georgetown, we should learn who will be on the ballot for next month's municipal election. Later today, Town Council is expected to certify the candidates Part of their responsibility is ensuring the candidates meet the requirements for the office they're running for. The meeting is at 5:05 p.m. and the town's election is scheduled for May 11th, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
We are now taking a live look at Washington, D.C. The fight continues to bring home a recently deported man of Maryland who was taken to El Salvador prison. Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen has been in El Salvador since Wednesday in an effort to bring Kilmer Abrego Garcia back to the United States. Senator Van Hollen met with the country's vice president on Wednesday and said on his social media that he was unable to see Abrego Garcia. The White House is now alleging that Abrego Garcia is a member of the MS-13 gang. The allegation is something his family denies, and a federal judge is now demanding answers about what the White House is doing to return him to the U.S.
And the U.S. courts have found that he was illegally taken from the United States, and the government of El Salvador has no evidence that he was part of MS-13. Why is El Salvador continuing to hold him in CICOT?
He is not coming back to our country. President Bukele said he was not sending him back. That's the end of the story.
A federal judge says they have found probable cause to hold the administration in contempt of court over some mass deportation flights to El Salvador.
We have more news to get to in this final half hour. Don't go anywhere.
Coming up, Lewis Spring Cleaning concludes. We'll tell you where crews are conducting hydrant flushing in the city.
Also, Sussex baseball battle. We'll preview the Sussex Tech Cape game that will air tonight on DSN.
And Zelke's change coming. We'll tell you what to expect from one of Zelke's locations in Sussex County. Stay with us on CoastTV News Today.
6:41 on this frosty Thursday morning for some Tyndall's Casual Furniture Camp. 34 in Laurel, and we do have some patchy frost out there. Look at these temperatures hovering just above freezing in Salisbury, Delmarva, below freezing in Redden, 34 in Ocean Pines, and I can confirm in Millsboro that we do have frost there with 30s and low 40s at the coast. As the winds are light, the skies are clear, all conducive to the frost as that high pressure is settling over the top of us. You can see the big H right over Chesapeake Bay. Light winds today, but we will be scraping some frost as we go through the morning hours, and then a pretty nice day on the way. Bus stop forecast for the kids. They'll see some frost out there too. 35, sunny and cold off to school. Then heading home, much milder, 59. Lots of sunshine, sunny and cool. In case you missed it earlier, Gary Robinette from Greenwood is our latest umbrella winner, courtesy of Paul Davis and Coast TV.
Thank you, Bob. If your child is in school, you know spring break is starting on Delmarva. Today is the last day of classes for many schools. Milford, Cape, and Indian River School Districts say their break starts tomorrow and it will last until April 25th. Wicomico and Worcester County schools also start tomorrow. However, students and staff have a shorter break and will return back to the classroom on April 21st.
We want to clarify a story that we recently aired. It was about Zelke's Beach Arcade. We reported that the arcade is set to temporarily close its original location in Rehoboth Beach after 40 years. And we want to make it clear, Zelke's as a company is not closing. The Zelke's location at the north end of the boardwalk, it's located at 5 North Boardwalk, that is set to close after this summer due to the One Rehoboth Avenue Hotel. But Zelke's tells us they hope it will only be one season until a new Zelke's is built in that same building where that north end location was. The Zelke's at 115 South Boardwalk, that will remain open, and so will the Zelke's in the Tanger outlets. We do apologize for any confusion.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Yes, the top of the Henlopen North Division is on the line tonight. Let's preview our matchup over at Cape Henlopen High School. Sussex Tech is still flying high after winning the North and the conference title last season. The Ravens are 6-1 to start. Senior Sean Ely is coming off a shutout against Smyrna, where he struck out 13 Eagles in the win. On the other side, Cape Henlopen has steamrolled the competition. The Vikings are 7-0 with a run differential of 64 coming into last night's game. Kentucky commit Jace Mitchell highlights the lineup. First pitch is set for 4:15 this afternoon on DSN. Speaking of the Vikings, let's preview Season 3 of Into the Trenches. This time we're heading to the home of the Vikings as they embark on a new voyage in their 2024 football season. Let's take a peek.
The late run last season and then trying to explain that we're a different team.
You got to work harder
because you went to the state chip, because there's a target on your head.
Understanding the stresses that these kids are under it's a little bit unique for me.
The expectations are high.
You're gonna practice the way you play.
We can push even further this year and hopefully make a run for it again.
Into the Trenches, a new voyage. April 24th at 7:30 on the Delmarva Sports Network and DSN Plus. Sponsored by Preston Automotive.
That is just a week from today. We cannot wait. That over sports. Have a great day, everybody.
And here's what's coming up tonight on DSN, your game of the night at 4 p.m. Cape Henlopen hosts Sussex Tech in baseball. Then you can catch the final score at 10:30. And over on the DSN Plus app, along with that game of the night, also at 4 p.m., Indian River against Gunston School and girls lacrosse. 3 girls soccer games to watch at 5:30. Lake Forest takes on Caesar Rodney. Milford faces Delmar, and Sussex Central plays Nandua.
And here is what you can expect today on Coast Life.
Well, today is actually Thursday, but hey, maybe it's your Friday, and we've got a lot of fun coming your way today on Coast Life. We are going to be playing some games with some more family fun time.
Plus, we're going to be bringing in the prostate cancer guy. You might know him as Paul Williams, our chief meteorologist. He's got something to tell you about.
And because it is actually Thursday, we're also spilling some tea. It's a holiday weekend, and you know family gets dramatic around the holidays. We'll spill that drama a little bit later on today at 4 o'clock. That's when we'll see you for some more Coast Life.
And it's a frosty start for a lot of folks inland areas today. 38 in Ocean View, probably not with a little bit of a breeze there, but yeah, a frosty start for a lot of us. Otherwise, a sunny and cool day on the way. A nice warm up heading into the Easter holiday weekend, feeling like summer on Saturday. A little cooler for Easter Sunday. Your full forecast details coming up in a couple of minutes. Stay tuned.
We are taking a live look outside at Laurel on this colder morning. And Bob, you actually just said it's a frostier morning. We see that sun coming up there, so hopefully any frost is melting. That's a good sign.
Yeah, or glistening in the sun right now, Elisa, as it is frosty for a lot of us across inland areas. Those temperatures really dip between about 3 to 6 a.m., and now we're actually below freezing in Redden at 31, just above freezing in Salisbury and Delmar. It only needs to get down to 36 to really start producing frost, so I think we're seeing that all inland areas, so I hope you protected your plants through the overnight hours. I did check Millsboro, 34 there with frost, upper 30s to lower 40s, even cold at the beaches, but not cold enough for a frost there, as there's a little bit of a breeze there, but mainly calm winds inland areas. Looks like they have shaved back this frost advisory a little bit from northern parts of Delaware and Jersey, so now we have that frost advisory across parts of Maryland through Baltimore, but for the rest of Delmarva right now, we're looking at nothing in the way of a frost advisory, but we could have had one, and with temperatures that are down there, and it's definitely frosty out there, but it looks like thicker, heavier frost off to our west and northwest. As we're looking at clear skies, as the sun is coming up right now, light winds as high pressure is building in, and those winds died off quickly through the overnight. That's why we have a frosty start out there with high pressure moving right over the top of us, and with that, that means much lighter winds for today. It's going to be a beautiful day with high pressure. Back to the west, we have a warm front and showers and storms erupting across the plains in the Midwest. We're not going to see that, but we have a dome of warm air that is developing across the plains, and then that will be moving our way as we head into Friday and then beyond. So futurecasts this morning, we're seeing that frost pretty much gone by mid-morning with temperatures in the mid to upper 40s. By the 1 o'clock hour today, lots of sunshine, light winds, temperatures in the mid to upper 50s. Inland areas, maybe some 40s at the coast, but for the most part, I think you're in the 50s. And then by 5 p.m., pretty pleasant, 61 Selbyville up to Ellendale over to Delmar, but cooler for the coast and lighter winds too. Now, through the overnight with high pressure sliding away, it will not be as cold as this morning. Shortly after midnight, we've got 40s. And then by Friday morning, I think we're looking at a bit of a southerly breeze, and temperatures may be upper 30s in a few places, otherwise 40. So I don't think we're looking at frost then. And then a big warm up into tomorrow, late morning, we're in the 60s, and then 60s and low 70s by Friday afternoon. And it stays pretty mild Friday night into Saturday morning with that southerly breeze. Temperatures in the low 60s. And then look at this, by 2:30 on Saturday, we're looking at low to mid 80s across inland areas. It's going to feel like summer heading into the weekend, and a little cooler at the beaches. We'll see a cold front sliding through as we go through Saturday night, and that will cool us off a little bit. bit heading into Easter Sunday. So it's 80s on Saturday and then 70s on Sunday. And the winds today much lighter than they have been with that high pressure building in. But then as that high slides away, we see stronger southerly winds kicking in Friday and especially into the weekend, ushering in that warm air. Paul, they have a 7-day forecast, 62 today. Another chilly start tomorrow, down to 40, and then 71 for Good Friday, mostly sunny. Saturday, 82, maybe a shower into Saturday night, and then drier. More clouds and sun on Easter Sunday, but I think it's still pretty good. 73, the weather will cooperate, and then mild and dry, I think, into a good part of the early to middle part of next week.
We do have an update on that traffic alert in Georgetown. DelDOT says the emergency road closure of Cokesbury Road is expected to reopen today. This is the area between Seashore Highway and Hastings Farm Road. DelDOT says the closure began to repair for a crossroad pipe.
Hydrant flushing on the coast work in Lewis is already underway. According to the city, the BPW is expected to complete that project today. Crews will work beachside, and the city is advising locals to wait to do laundry until their water runs clear.
Yeah, got a similar situation about to take place in Ocean City. The town says spring flushing begins April 20th, and it will start on South 1st Street. Crews will work overnight to complete the project. Town says it's expected to be done on April 24th. Is reminding people in Ocean City to run faucets on cold if they notice discoloration.
And it is 6:53, so we are going to check in with our coastal pet of the day.
Yeah, we got a new coastal pet of the day this hour, also awaiting the Easter Bunny. Actually, we're going to go back to Esmeralda. I was looking for another one there, but we're going to go stay with Esmeralda. You can see with the bunny ears there, Esmeralda submitted to us by Tammy in Millsboro.
And we want to see more of your pets on Delmarva, especially if you dress them up. So send us photos and tell us what makes them so special. You can take a look at your screen.
Yeah, you can scan that QR code at the top to get your friends to us here, and then you can watch weekdays from 5 to 7 a.m. to see all the pets we feature.
My Golden's never cooperated with the bunny ears. I'm glad to see Esmeralda is. We are looking at a cold Cambridge right now, 37. We're looking at patchy frost inland areas this morning. Hope you protected your plants overnight. Otherwise, sunshine and cool today. A big warm-up heading into the Easter holiday weekend. 80s Saturday, cooler on Easter Sunday. Your 10-day forecast is next.
It is 6:56. We're going to take another look at your forecast.
Bob, looking forward to a warm-up today.
Absolutely.
I think we need it from this morning's temperatures.
Yeah, we're seeing frost, patchy frost across inland parts of Delmarva this morning. That will quickly melt off, but leave extra time to warm up the car and scrape that frost this morning as we're in the 30s, but a nice warm up through the 40s, 50s to right around 60 this afternoon with lots of sunshine. And note the winds much lighter than yesterday. Around 62 your high this afternoon. Paul Davis 10-day forecast. 40 tomorrow morning. I don't think we're frosty. Then Good Friday, 71. 82 on Saturday. Looking good on Easter Sunday, 73. Mild and dry through Wednesday of next week. Then it looks like increasing rain chances beginning on Thursday.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News today.
And the Today Show is coming up next at 7 a.m.
Then we'll be back for Coast TV News midday at 11.
Until then, have a great Thursday morning, everybody.